The sun was just beginning to peek through the gentle slit of the velvet curtains, casting a soft golden glow across Petra's tiny Brooklyn apartment. It was Saturday, and the city was only just beginning to stir, the familiar hum of life gradually rising from the streets below. Petra lay cocooned in the warmth of her blankets, feeling that deep satisfaction only a lazy weekend morning brings, when her phone buzzed on the nightstand, disrupting her peace. Still somewhat in a daze, she reached over and picked up the device. Her heart skipped a beat at the sight of an email from her boss. It was as if the fickle fingers of anxiety had pulled her out of that tranquil cocoon. The email was short, blunt, stressing the urgency of a new project that must be delivered by Sunday night. Petra sighed deeply, accepting the challenge with a resigned nod. It was always like this. Just when she thought she could breathe, life handed her another unexpected puzzle to solve. And within moments, the comfortable glow of the morning turned into a cold spotlight, emphasizing her stack of unfinished business. But even she didn't realize the gravity of what she was about to uncover, nor the tangled web she would soon be pulling apart. As she fired up her laptop, her mind wandered to last year's promotion, the one that had slipped through her fingers, alongside the mirage of promises that came with it. How often had she watched others glide effortlessly ahead while she seemed to tread water? The frustration burned slightly, a tiny ember of injustice dancing in her gut. But each such moment she knew was an offering, an opportunity to rise above and beyond the discomfort, another stone in her ever-constructed wall of resilience. The project involved analyzing market data, a tedious task of sorting through spreadsheets and making sense of the cascading rows of digits. Yet there was something strange about these numbers. Patterns that should have jumped out instead seemed smudged, inconsistent, like a puzzle with pieces from another set. This was more than just a task for Petra, it was a mystery. She pushed the chair back, stood, and paced the room, hoping that somehow movement might coax clarity out of confusion. The pattern just barely kissed the fringes of her intuition, hinting at something larger, something meticulously hidden. She wondered if she should bring this to her manager. But who would believe her without solid proof? Suddenly, like a lightning bolt of realization, she remembered the whispered rumors of a project gone astray the year before. Whispers of a messenger within the company entrusted with a significant task who had decided to embellish their report with ghostly figures, phantom assets crafted from their own greed. Petra felt her pulse speed up. If these numbers were part of the same deception. Her fingers trembled slightly as they danced across the keyboard, her mind fully engaged in the thrill of the chase. But with each new piece of data, her task grew more daunting and her enemy more mysterious. She knew her curiosity had pulled her into a place that was safer to ignore, a darkened alley in the well-polished city where too few dared to shine a light. In this digital wilderness, Petra found herself confronting the faceless entity, the messenger who had betrayed the trust of the innocent, sealing their deceit behind a veneer of plausible professionalism. A web of lies spun so intricately that even the architects might forget its original design. She needed to choose, pull at this thread and risk tangling herself in this deceit, or walk away, leaving the past buried. Evening came, and with it a sense of both urgency and resolve. Her window cast a silhouette of the late sunset across her cluttered desk. She had to expose the truth. So with an earnest heart, Petra compiled everything she had found. Hours became echoes of determination as she pieced together her report. By Sunday morning, her email was composed, meticulously, laid out like a tapestry of undisputable facts. She paused, hovering over the send button, aware of how this could change everything. Mirrored in the dark screen of her phone, she saw herself. The girl who loved puzzles, who could see patterns others missed. Finally, in a swift, confident motion, she tapped the button. It was done. The truth, released from its cage, would fly in unpredictable directions. Monday arrived, bringing with it the usual hustle and bustle of the office. But there was a tremor in the air, a ripple effect from the stone Petra had cast into the pond of deceit. Meetings began, filled not with the order of progress, but with the chaos and confusion of a revelation. The messenger confronted, the web of lies slowly unraveled like an old, poorly knitted sweater. With each thread pulled, a clearer picture of the truth emerged. The office buzzed with the transformative shock of revelation. It was a brittle, unsteady, yet somehow promising new dawn. Through it all, Petra remained calm, a serene figure standing in the eye of the storm she herself had brewed. She shared her findings with quiet strength, creating ripples of her own, affecting more than just the numbers on a page, but also the trust and culture of her workplace. Some colleagues viewed her as a beacon of truth, while others grappled with the change she had initiated, confronting their own reflections in her actions. Weeks followed, filled with restructuring and a reshuffling of responsibilities, until the dust began to settle. Petra stood on the precipice of a new chapter, one where her courage was recognized and rewarded. Yet more importantly, she walked away with a profound realization. In the complex dance of professional ethics, only integrity could truly light the way. And so, standing at her window once more, watching the gentle dusk weave shadows across the city, she knew this was her story, her contribution to a narrative larger than any she'd been part of before. She had dared greatly, upheld honesty in a labyrinth of falsehood, and it had changed her world. In the quiet of her heart, even as the world outside began to settle into the quiet rhythm of night, she understood that integrity was not just about honesty. It was about having the courage to embrace the discomfort of truth and the audacity to remain unchanged by corruption's lure. With a gentle conviction, Petra knew she had set herself upon a path not just of professional growth, but of personal evolution, and that was a prize far richer than any she could have imagined. The journey had been fraught with challenges, yet each obstacle had carved new strengths into her character. She remembered the moments of doubt where perseverance seemed elusive, where fear had almost taken the reins, but she had dug deep, found her resolve, and continued walking forward. As she gazed out into the dimming horizon, the sky brushing against the silhouettes of distant mountains, Petra felt a serene contentment. It wasn't simply about the achievements or milestones along the way, but about the person she had become in the pursuit of her passions and purpose. Every decision, every choice she had made in alignment with her values had led her to a place of clarity and empowerment. In redefining success not just by external accolades, but by internal peace and authenticity, Petra had rewritten her story, her way. She knew the chapters ahead remained unwritten, filled with untold adventures and unpredictable turns, but she embraced this uncertainty, for it was in the unknown that she found space to dream, to aspire, and to continue growing. As the stars began to twinkle above, Petra smiled, knowing that she was precisely where she was meant to be, living her truth, unapologetically and freely.